Hello friends. Zaffos and I just came from our morning walk and now we are at the crime scene where yesterday I felled the big pine. And I showed you yesterday how I felled it, and I made a follow-up video on my preparations and that everything was actually okay, and how I botched it up, because I did. It fell the wrong way, and I can explain why, and I can learn from my mistakes. It was my mistake, absolutely. And of course, Zaffos wasn't here participating in that. She was locked in the house because I don't want to hurt her. But now it's lying, and it's lying steady, and she can be out here and play with me. So last night or afternoon and evening, when I was done filming the first two videos, I went up here again after a cup of coffee and a little rest to see what we're dealing with. And that meant that I have cut down a lot of the undergrowth and forest on these two sides of the trunk to see what it's doing. And what it is doing is, I'll just straddle over it, is that it was a straight tree when I felled it, but look at that. It hit that tree in there and hit the next tree in there and is wedged in between those. And you can see this here tree is straight up. The other one was as well, but it's really been bent. You see, as further as we come up, it bent to that side. And then wedged in to the next tree in there. And that wedging means that there's a curve now in the trunk. And I'm afraid that that curve and that tension and the curve will spread down through this part, which is actually the part that I need to be straight, and I need it for my house. So my dilemma is now how to cut it. What am I gonna cut? I have only a 3 days course in felling trees, not even big trees like this. I'm actually not allowed. Well, of course you can do it, but my course from the forestry school did not teach me to fell trees this big. I believe the maximum size would be one like that, and not these fat trees. And I see now why, because I really botched it up. I should have had a longer bar, but even with a longer bar, I'm not sure I could have made it correctly and accurate. You have to make one cut in very accurate. You have to make number 2 cut in an angle down to get this wedge out and not leave pieces like that. And then you have the 3rd cut from behind that has to be very precise as well. If you do that, there's still a chance that the tree has some anomalies in it, or weird growth in it, or it could be rotten in the middle. It could react in very many different ways. So I haven't learned that. I haven't had a teacher or two to show me and teach me. Nej, du skal lige være stille. Shh. Her Zaffos toe is okay again, so she wants me to throw sticks. I'm not throwing them, I'm activating them. But when you take a bigger course in the forestry school, you learn how to handle storm fallen trees. This tree is to be likened with a storm fallen tree because it has just fallen down where it shouldn't, and it's wedged in between other trees. And that means that there's a lot of tension in this trunk. And what I really would like to do was to cut her right up here. To simply get a saw, cut it off here. But if I do that, I'm certainly going to be on this side of the tree, because that end of the trunk will swing out. There's so much tension on it up there. So that end, if I cut it here, this will swing out until certainly it hits that tree. If I cut it down here, a little bit further down, this end will still swing out, and maybe swing out even further. And you don't want to have your hands here, the saw and your hands here, if that one swings out. It's just dangerous. It is dangerous. And I am not sure that I dare to do it. And if you're a bit afraid of doing anything with trees and felling and wood, you shouldn't do it. Let someone else come in and do it. So I'm gonna have to use a couple of days to contemplate what to do. But in the meantime, what I can do, and what I have been doing, is cutting off the bark, slicing it off. Now, I think I can show you, if I put the phone down here, I can show you my tools to do that with. Now, one tool is my axe. That is a splitting axe. You can use it as a hand axe. It can be a splitting axe. But I have sharpened it so much that I've filed off this one side more than this side. So this side curves a bit more. I'm right-handed. So when I whittle and I cut wood for whittling, I use my right hand, and this is a piece of wood, right? And then when I have filed this flatter, I can have a tighter angle to cut pieces. That means that when I cut the bark off, it's easier to go in from this side because it catches near to the wood. If I use that side of it, it just slides off because it's rounder. It's more difficult to get it in there. But I've been chopping off the very coarse bark down at that end. Now we're into where it's not that thick, and I can just use the draw knife all the time. And a draw knife is, as you say, a knife, so it has to be like when you cut with a knife. So you can't just draw with it. Yes, you can, but then you use a lot of force just to chop with it. What you got to do is to draw it a little bit to the side every time you take it down the trunk here. So still have to apply a bit of force, but when you do, you slide it a bit to the side so that you cut with it like that. It's a little bit fast when I do it this way, but because it's very hard to do it in slow motion, I think. So that's what I was doing last night, and it's so sappy. It's really sappy, and that's what I'm gonna do because it's gonna dry out. You want it to dry out, and it does that best when it's out of its skin. And yeah, I've taken a bit here. Of course, it's difficult to get all the way under the trunk, but I can take the bark off all the way up to there. And that's actually nice that it's wedged up here, because then you can work with it a bit easier than when it's all the way down on the ground. So that's one plus. But my idea could also be to just count 3 meters up here and cut the first piece. I would definitely be on this side of it, cutting it off here at 3 meters. This piece of the trunk would definitely go whipping out to that side. I'm sure. I think so. That's what my logic tells me. When there's so much tension on it up there, spring, it would whip out like a ruler when we whooped each other's ass with a ruler at recess. Oh, when somebody did that to each other, I saw. But that's my picture of it. That's what it's gonna do. Shunk, whip out there, and this chunk would fall to the ground. It wouldn't roll. I don't think it would. Not if we are only 3 meters in. There is a stone down there under it. So if it hits that stone, it could roll over this way. So it's on with the steel cap boots and the saw, and that will be the hand saw because my chainsaw is busted. It's squashed completely. I'm not sure I'm gonna get it repaired ever, so I might just find another cheap second-hand saw. That's annoying. It was not in the budget, but my fault. So, but a little bit of hand work is still to do, and I will fill you in on the progress of it. Right now it's breakfast time. Should be lunch, but we didn't have anything to eat, or I didn't. Zaffo always has her food in the bowl. A little bit more playtime, I think, and then some brunch. And I'll see you and follow up on this or on the Viking tent on a following video. So if you like this one, just give us a click, and you can always follow. Can you say bye, Zaffo? Bye. No. Yeah. Way to go. Bye bye, everyone. See you on the next one.